Don't know what's happening here. Hey, looks like we finally made it live. Excellent. I burned my bridges with a blowtorch. Somebody said that somewhere. They thought it was cool. Figured I'd go with it. What are the humans doing?
Do you think you're ready? Can you handle the truth? Or are you in denial and demanding more proof? They demonstrate in real time how they're spinning you lies, but no one pays attention, no one opens their eyes. They walk around like zombies with their head in the mobiles, signaling their virtues with a pick on their profile. Yeah. Signaling their virtues with a pick on their profile. So if you think you're ready, you don't need more proof. Conspiracy deniers are denying the truth. They fabricate our problems and pretend to provide the best solution, but we all know they lied. They lied about the weapons and they lied about health. They lied about the fact that they're transferring the wealth. You should really notice how they're pushing the fear. Keep everybody terrified and not thinking clear. Yeah. Everybody's not thinking clear. Keep everybody terrified. Yeah, thinking and not thinking. Keep everybody terrified and not thinking clear. When you do, you realize that this is a trick. It's getting really stupid now, they're taking the mick. Said, do you think you're ready? Can you handle the truth? Or are you in denial and demanding more proof? They demonstrate in real time how they're spinning you lies, but no one pays attention, no one opens their eyes. They walk around like zombies with their head in the mobiles, signaling their virtues with a pick on their profile. Yeah, signaling their virtues on their profile.
Make me suck the sushi off this stick.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sasquatch Shills for Sasquatch Shills, so you don't have to. What is the best type of oracle? Is it a free oracle? Is it a based oracle? Or should we just free-based oracle? You know how long I've been holding that one in my pocket. What's up, bud?
What is up?
All right. So the way this kind of works out is this. I've got a couple of videos over here. I'm going to ask you strictly YouTube questions, nothing private. I do not care who you vote for. I don't not care what your everyday carry is. I don't give a damn which way you walk or whether you sashay or you shimmy. I don't care about none of that. We're talking about YouTube tonight. All right. Cool. Seems pretty straight, right? Okay. So little young based oracle is running around there in the sandbox trying to figure out what he's going to do with his life when one day it occurs to him, I'm going to upload a video to YouTube. What in the world were you thinking?
I don't know. Actually, it's been a few years since I uploaded my first video. But not under this channel, under a channel that is fucking gone, striked, all sorts of shit. But probably, actually, I think my first video was a hate video. I was picking apart some other content creator.
This tracks.
Not a rap, not quite.
Yeah, no, I'm saying this tracks. This makes perfect sense.
Oh, this, yeah, it checks
You
out.
strike me as the type of person who might once have been a little bit too vicious in these YouTube streets, and I had suspected something similar, but
Hmm.
you know. Okay, so strictly on the based Oracle channel, did you just start out doing live streams, or did you? I mean, was that your plan, or did you did you upload a video, not like it, take it down? I mean, what's with that? How'd that go?
Yeah, I think around a year ago, a little over a year ago, made some shorts, things like, I think, yeah, probably just shorts. Might have done a couple 5-10 minute videos. And from there, maybe a few months into it, started hopping on panels. I guess at some point I realized that was a thing. And I thought, what better way to test some of my ideas, right, and get around the block a little bit than
Right.
get on some panels. So
That's
did that for
not
a bit.
bad. If
Yeah.
you have a turn of phrase and the ability to stand on your own ideals, then yes, this can very easily be a springboard to more platform availability. Yes. So you're not planning on transmogrifying into a rap channel or anything like that? Are you gonna break
No,
out your white rapper career?
no.
Are you sure, man? You got some chops.
You know, just for fun. I figure I talk anyways, so talked over a couple beats, these sort of friendly diss tracks.
Um, yeah. I like friendly. Friendly is nice. I really like friendly. Um, so who's Marathon Kev?
Marathon Kev. He from Mel Pandora's channel. Not sure what else. I think he covers some sports things, stuff like that. And when I first hopped on Mel, it was actually the first night, two of us got into it, and it was over the Speakeasy diss track I made. He was just like, "Oh, that shit is trash. I can do better," and whatever. Transpired into, okay, I'm gonna do the next one on you. So, yeah,
Cool. You know we're gonna listen to it, right?
cool.
This is fixing to happen. I hope you brought your britches, because it's gonna get deep. Y'all ready for this? It's gonna sound terrible because of the way StreamYard functions. If I set it up to sound good, we'll echo back and forth at each other, but screw everybody. I'm just doing a show.
I don't deny there's some strange evolutionary process going on, but mankind won't be destroyed. That you and I are working here today is evidence of that.
A little bit of that fruity, zesty evidence, right, Kev? But don't worry, this will be painless for me. They call you Marathon Kev. How ironic when I'm the one running through your head. About to put this dude to bed, permanent. Soiled yourself, now you're fermented. And the word's hard today, you gonna learn it. Funny watching grown man squirm and roll, kill vermin. Said my song was trash. Right before you got position crispy for a finger blast. The ain't no adventures of Kev. We know you ain't right, so where'd you go last? Was it at Maps when you picked as SDMOS artillery? No shit, who would've guessed? The best of the best. Army said be all you can be. Look at you now, sweating at your own eulogy. Bitch, please, this is sound accountability for acting hard. Punched out like your number one customer, Chippendale's card. You asked for the smoke show. If you were a card, you'd be totaled. I'm the star, you some old mold. If you were smart, you take them cards and fold, bro. You next, Glenn.
Yeah, bud. I got no hate for that one. What are we looking at here? Confidence, brain rot. That's some of you, ain't it? Right. That's long enough to do it. Yup. All right. So what would you define the topic of your channel. If you had to pick a single thing, like what is it? What do it do? Do it jiggle? I'm sure that's in depth and very conscientious, but you're muted.
Yeah. Anywhere from fuckery to uncomfortable truth.
Right? I like it. Because there's a lot of people out here who started their channel with no clue what they were going to do. And then there's people like me who started with a plan and it went completely heinously awry. It's good to know that some people out there have some things happening in the right direction. Right? So you're not really doing the whole super monetization approach, 500 subs, stickers, and super chats. By the way, if you have any donation links or anything, you can drop them in the chat. I think I've already.
No, we shilling for you tonight, Sasquatch.
You can try, but there's no way to donate to me.
Oh, you don't have any?
I don't accept donations.
Okay.
I don't accept wins on other people's channels. I don't do lotteries. I don't do any of that until I do. When I do, things may change. So stealing for me, whatever, man. Anybody got his freaking links? Y'all drop them in the chat. Y'all find him. Okay, AJot, Hunt, sick 'em. Anyway, so you've been going at this for about 6 months on this specific channel?
Live streaming, I would say about 4. Yeah, August. Maybe not 5. Probably 5 months.
Right. And what have you learned by doing this sort of thing as far as working with YouTube or in these YouTube streets, as it were?
Yeah, good question. Probably many things. One is, no particular order here, but I'd say most people, for the most part, don't want the truth. People want to be lied to.
Yes.
They really do. And they don't want to be completely lied to, right? They don't want to see the magician. They just want to be lied to enough that whatever it is becomes palatable.
Right. You are absolutely correct on that. You want to feed them enough of their own unconscious bias that they don't regurgitate the hard kernel of fact that you land in the middle of it. And that is a very difficult thing to pull off if the other person has their own agenda and is doing the same thing. You just end up talking at cross purposes and never really conversing, because a conversation involves the trade off of information, and these two individuals will not actually be trading information. They would just be stating things they believe to be fact.
Yeah. And kind of segueing into the debate stuff, right? The debate bro, all that stuff. Right. I'm not going to speak for all, just saying it seems that most is not really debating, dirty debating. It's all about optical wins. Nobody's trying to get truth out of any situation. And when I say nobody, I just mean most people. They don't give a fuck. They care for drama. They care for, Delta audacity, just whatever's going to be the most outrageous. But truth isn't one of them. That's what seemingly is outrageous to people that they just don't want.
Hey, Jod, is that his live stream running currently? Because we can totally link that instead of his channel. Would you rather subscribers or viewers? Choose now or forever hold your peace.
Me? Oh, yeah. I don't care.
Okay. Well, then I will leave the work I've done as the work I've done. American 101, what's up? Let's do this one thing first before I get too far down this rabbit hole, because, all right, that's a few seconds of widescreen for the new intro in about 6 months, and we can go back to doing the normal stuff. Okay, so you're not like doing a hardcore run for money, and you're not trying to tuck around the end for the cash apps. Then the motivation is largely personal, and so it would it be wrong to assume that there is some sort of an agenda, a through line concept you're working with here?
Yeah, I think the number one agenda is, if I can back up just a little bit, that YouTube will, I mean, live streaming or even uploading will test you in ways, right? You've seen people bug the fuck out, right? Just get drowned in negativity and they're crying and yelling and all this shit. So it definitely tests people. So with that said, I look at one facet, becoming better, right? In different ways, we'll say. Kind of sharpening sword.
I can see that. I tell you, a few weeks ago, I was talking to my brother, and we just run across each other at a convenience store, and we were sitting there talking. But he had walked in on me talking to the lady behind the counter, and I walked right by him and acted like I didn't know him. Went and put the stuff in the truck. When he came out, I went and talked to him. He said, "Man, I got to tell you, since you started these YouTube panel things you're doing, you have become much more just incidentally charming. Like, you just do the public social thing with zero effort." And I hadn't really thought about it, but he's got a point. Doing these panels puts you directly in front of a lot of people who disagree with you directly. And it makes you a little bit tougher to shake up when somebody incidentally says something that, maybe used to trigger you. You're not as easy to lead along the garden path, as it were. You agree with that?
Yeah. Well, you can take it multiple ways. I mean, nonetheless, the core of what you're saying is true. But I think you see people weaken due to it, right? So to speak, becoming worse and others becoming better, right? It's like any struggle in life. You can use it. You can use it to your benefit, or you can, get drowned out.
I think it comes down to one's ability to not emotionally respond, because essentially, like take the first time me and you cross swords, as it were. Y'all don't get any too many thoughts out there in chat land. It ain't like that. Be straight. Anyway, so I thought you were funny. You came in and you dropped some really dry humor on the group that almost I didn't feel like anyone actually got. So it made me giggle. And because of that, I didn't really think about it much, but I kind of went at you a little hard. I didn't really mean to. And I didn't realize that we had not actually spoken before. I think I was starting drinking right then. I think that was like my second or third shot in. And that's no excuse, but at the same time, it was not an intentional thing. I had actually planned on like talking to you, but when you say something, man, you got to be willing to stand on it.
Yeah.
Do you have a problem
or don't
doing that? Well, true.
Well, I was going to say stand on it or don't, but the middle ground doesn't really work, right? You can't be half in, half out. You'll get eaten alive.
Absolutely.
But what was your question?
Do you have you had a problem with people coming at you real hot with like vitriol, anger, fire, and brimstone? Like, have you had any good trolls?
Yeah, I mean, definitely people have come at me with hate, a good amount of hate, all over, right? People and others maybe you don't. But
you know what they say? You don't catch no flack unless you're over the target.
Right. Right.
So does it bother you? Do you let it get to you? Do you respond?
I mean, I've responded to some. I've probably responded to, depending on how you define respond even, right? Like highlighting a chat comment to making a video about it, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. But I've probably responded to, less than 10% of it, I would think.
Wow. I don't even do that. Trolls come here to die. They die alone and lonely, sitting in their corner, thinking they're talking. Nobody's hearing them. But if you're going to be in this space, you have to accept a certain amount of trollery. The way I get by on this is when someone comes in at me, like for a little while, I was playing some Minecraft, right? I was doing a particular thing, and I wanted some video for a video. I wanted some footage for a video I was doing for somebody else, and so I ended up doing a whole bunch of Minecraft streams, just trying to stack up the right stuff that I wanted. And somebody rolls in talking about the whole PDF file concept around Minecraft, and obviously, if I'm playing Minecraft, there must be something.
Right. Yeah. I got hit with something similar recently, so I feel you.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I don't know about everybody else out there in YouTube land, but before I came on YouTube, I realized that eventually some autistic individual is going to dig into my past and find out everything evil I've ever done. So I sat down and had a real good self think on myself about everything in my past that could come back and bite me. And I am a dues paying citizen of the United States with all of my rights fully intact. So I figure bring it. You know, like I paid all my dues and everything is square. I'm square with the house. So the worst they could possibly do is like share my name, maybe. It. Do you worry about that kind of stuff in the long run of things becoming uncovered that maybe should have stayed locked in the basement? I'm not leading you anywhere. Don't sweat that. Don't think that. I know that sounded
I'm not.
really
No, probably similar to you, right? Had a good thought, good thinking upon this stuff, and just made peace with it. Is what it is.
right. Okay. Well, I mean, that would be my advice. Anyone starting a channel, if you're going to be at all in YouTube, really, but if you're going to be doing the panel verse, you definitely have to sit down and decide whether or not you're on dope, whether or not that's going to be part of your channel, whether or not you're going to expose that, whether or not people can find out about it, whether or not you've got any nasty, ugly legal crap in the back end. You've got to take these things into consideration, and then when you go online and start your personality and you start your brand, you cannot be upset when they find it, because they will. So
yeah, I know there's definitely people on here who think that won't happen right to them, and I think that's crazy. I mean, eventually, right on a timeline, that will happen.
yes, eventually you will find some closet billionaire sitting over in some tiny little cabin somewhere that decides you're worth the time and effort to send a private eye. It's happened to me. I've had it happen. I'm in such a small town that when like background checks and stuff are run, it's not confidential. So I get a phone call one afternoon from an unnamed source within the local government saying, why is somebody running a background check on you? I was like, well, yeah, I just started a YouTube channel. I'm interviewing people. It was 8 months later, I realized that in the midst of the 24 channels I had interviewed, I actually picked a multimillionaire who is completely private. And the only way I found out about that was by back sourcing the private investigator back to where he's from and looking at the publicly. Anyway, you can find out such things if you're willing to dig deep enough, right? And I never said a word about it as far as who or when or why or whatever. But I guess they didn't find anything that raised any eyebrows because he did the show and we went on with what we were doing, you know? So just keep that in mind. A lot of these people out here are sitting around with their shirt off with gapped ass teeth and talking with a really, really deep Southern accent or sound like they're from the hills of Arkansas. That guy might be an oil tycoon. You never know. His grandfather may have established something very valuable, and he's just living on the dividends in his cut off shorts. So that's another thing people need to keep in mind when doing the panel verse.
Yeah.
So I mentioned it backstage. I don't rightly see a throughput path from what you're doing to anything related to YouTube becoming a financial success without moving forward on at least some aspect of monetization schemes. In order to get into AdSense, you have to do certain things, yada, 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 yada.
Well, I'm in AdSense, right? I mean, I'm monetized, just
Okay.
not with the, well, whatever the 500 level is.
Oh, you've got a bunch of your stuff in the that explains a lot. Almost everything you do gets stuck in your members only section, right?
Right.
Okay. That explains a little bit. I had a membership up until like a couple of weeks ago, and I had been looking through your stuff, and I'm like, oh look, he's got all this stuff, and the next thing I knew, it was gone, and I was like, did he have a bad day? But no, I lost my membership. I forgot about it. Yeah. Nice. Wish I'd have thought about that before the show. That'd make this a much better discussion. I can't even ballpark how much live stream content you've done. You've been doing live streams, what, every other day or every third day or so for months now.
Yeah, recently it's been less. I've been panel hopping a bit, right? But as far as putting out content, I have plans, things. It's just I'm not going to get into them. But there's reasons, right? Mm-hmm. So eventually, not everything is going to be paywalled, but I'm going to keep paywalling all live streams.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. What I do with these shows when I make them, I think I do things in layers. And so, we do this show. There's an After Dark section. If you want to stick around for that, previous guests will be invited up. And if they want to ask you questions, they can. But I've got a few videos we're going to look at completely unrelated to you. Cool. You can't be the center of my world all night. I'm sorry. It's just the way the format works.
No, that's fine.
Typically at that point, I remove the guest channel stream, which the idea is to funnel everybody that's interested in whatever you have to say into my stream. Cool. And that's a totally different thing. That's not Sasquatch Shills. That's unrelated. And so this is its own encapsulated bit to be produced, edited, smart ass remarks cut in and whatnot, cartoon clips and songs and sounds and stupid overlays and the YouTube thing. And it gets uploaded publicly. And the philosophy was like you to put the live stream as a membership, but private it until then. The issue I ran into was when I would private things, I would lose those views. And I wouldn't make up views on the episode because my live stream viewers don't watch the actual video. They just go in and like and move on. I'm not hating. I understand why you do that. It's just the thing, Have you considered any form of sponsorships? Or rather, let me ask it this way. Are there sponsorships you would consider doing ad reads for?
No, not at this point, right? I'm more concentrated on working on myself, in terms of, how do I put this? Kind of sharpening the content that I'm putting out.
Right. Makes sense. Based on what you've told me, the type of channel you're looking to produce long term, any ties with anything financial outside of the basic YouTube partner program could become an issue in the future. And I'm specifically speaking of like the honored titles or whatever it was, Irish titles, Scottish titles. That was it. Those types of scams are so prevalent on YouTube that it's difficult to find something that is going to long-term be beneficial. And on that point, I would suggest that you look in your life for something you actually do regularly, and something you realize after this conversation that, hey, I trust this. I'm willing to do this. This is a good thing. It's not trash. It's not a scam. It's a good thing. And consider ad reading for such things as that, but not for Joe's pool room down the street, unless, you like Joe.
Yeah. It's a fine line, I think, between, selling yourself to, a product and selling your soul type of deal. As it is, right? I don't bring in a ton of money. I just got monetized last month. And already I've made some moves that, have lost me some of that money, whether it's, kicking some members out or some people who were donating, whatever it is, right?
Okay,
And it was for a good reason. It wasn't just because.
no, I get it. It's your channel, boo boo. You do you. You will never hear me say don't do that unless I think it's specifically something that will directly damage your character, your channel, or your sellability. Right? Otherwise, it's your channel. I don't care, as long as it's legal. That being said, there are other places that you could pick up sponsorships, and I'm just saying this in general for YouTubers, not just you. It's things that I've forgotten to say on previous shows that I want to rectify. There is no law telling you that you can't do local ads. So if you know someone that you trust, or a business personally, if you can contact them and get that bag, do it. It's just be legit about it. Don't try to crook the ends of the deal, because these people have These people have they all have lawyers. Everybody has lawyers. So remember to say things like allegedly often. Try not to overstep any specific point too far. I mean, it's perfectly fine to have a conversation that leads to a specific point you're trying to make. Once you've entered a framework that doesn't work, whether you just stop talking, change the subject, or however you get out of that circumstance, you can't just beat your head against the wall topically. Just because you want something to be true doesn't mean the people that are here and present are going to agree with you. And so it's difficult to get certain things across in certain groups. How do you choose the channels you join on panel?
How do I do that now?
Right.
Currently?
I mean, are you going specifically for channels that you think would have a disagreeable stance against you, or are you looking for echo chamber type channels that agree with you?
At this point, it's kind of what is tolerable. So even, for the idea of the binary echo chamber or disagreeable, even in an echo chamber per se, there's plenty of disagreement that people can have if they're speaking in good faith, right? There's nobody that I completely align with, ever. Doesn't exist. Whereas, on the other side, there's a lot of, it seems like, how do I put it? Like artificial echo chambers, people who don't really agree on things, but will pretend to for the sake of making content together or pushing an agenda, sucking somebody else's dick,
True.
this sort of
So
thing.
that brings up a really good question there. Is that wrong?
Not necessarily, right? In the idea of content entertainment, I think pretty much anything goes, right?
To what limit? At what point does selling something turn into completely selling out? Because
Yeah.
I get the
I think-
impression that you're willing to make money, but you're not willing to sell out your morals. You don't want to sell your soul.
Right. Yeah. So what point, look, that fine line is difficult to grasp at times, but I think if it's obvious people are speaking, acting in bad faith, don't mean what they say, clear signs, then for me it's easy to walk away.
Yeah. Once someone becomes disingenuous in a conversation, or just outright dishonest, I generally just shut down the conversation and move on to some other panel. I mean, you're not going to be able to communicate with that person.
Yeah.
If they're
And,
willing to lie
it depends.
to you and themselves, you're not going to be able to get information into there.
Yeah, and I think about it just in all fairness, and it can be a line. There's certain rooms I'm more of a troll in, no doubt about it. And when I say a troll, I mean I probably up the sarcasm a bit, And people who, know me, so to speak, in the YouTube streets can pick it out right away. And that's good with me. People that I view are, kind of lost or just aren't getting it. I don't look at it as my responsibility for them to figure it out. I look at it as their responsibility to figure it out.
Sure. Well, I mean, if you're willing to give them all the information to make it possible for them to do so, then I don't see a problem with expecting someone to do a little bit of their own footwork. A lot of times in the metaverse, the panelverse, as it were, people come in having heard something or just having thought something and decided that it's factual and true, when in reality they just haven't thought it all the way through, or they've repeated something someone else said to them and they've just taken it to heart. Like, there are people in these YouTube streets that, honest to God, think they can read other people's minds.
Yeah.
And think it's a secret that nobody else knows how to do this. And so they take one look at you and they know everything that's going on in your head, and then they condemn you for their own thoughts.
Yeah. A lot of people talk as if they know somebody else's frame of mind.
How do you go about trying to turn that from an aggressive stance into at least a non-combative stance? Is it possible? Is it worthwhile?
To correct somebody? Yeah, at times.
Not necessarily. I'm talking about, let's say you have somebody, for the most part, you agree, but on some particular, like, really thick point, like abortion, right? Y'all have some menial disagreement about they're cool with 3 months and you think it's absolute, or whatever. I'm just hypothetically here. I don't know what your stances are. Is that worthwhile? If that's a make or break for them, is it worthwhile trying to keep them around?
No, I don't think you should try to keep anyone around. I think that's a mistake in and of itself.
That is bold, and that is also accurate. That is exactly the way I would approach it. Anyone that wants to walk away is free to do so. At most, if I run across you in another chat, I'll be like, "Hey, how doing? Hope well." And that's about it. Because I don't do the hate thing. Even when people hate on me, I am congenial, unless I'm on Flo's panel and drinking, and then I get a little bit rowdy. And that's about the only place I do that nowadays. Is there a point at which that would break your determination to do this, that would convince you to either stop doing YouTube in general or drop this channel and start a new one? What would that look like?
That's a tough question.
I mean, I know I'm asking you to predict the future, but you're a fucking oracle. Get with the program, man.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of taking it. I mean, look, I look at life as relates to YouTube. In a sense, you take it by the day. It is one day at a time. But in another sense, you should look at what you would like to see the future be and work towards that. And I think the difficulty is forming that picture, making that roadmap, right? Because at first it's very vague. I mean, maybe, depending on who you're asking. And you can hone in more and more, right? The more thought you give, the more, time doing it, right? Time is a great teacher.
It is. A lot of people want, you look at the world and there's warning labels on absolutely everything, and you wonder how on earth do these people grow up to be actual humans if they never touch the hot eye, if they never swallow the marble. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Do you ever stick anything in an outlet?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I
My
stuck my
daughter's
finger in an outlet.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I get you. My daughter's never done that I'm aware of. She said that she was told that something bad would happen, and that was all she needed to know. And I was like, wow, that wouldn't work with me. Like 10 years ago, 20 years ago, nobody would listen to that trash. We're going to lick our finger and do it anyway. Is that better or worse, though? I mean,
it depends. Yeah, I usually need to do it a few times, just to be sure of
yeah,
how
you do
fucked
strike
up
me
it
as
is.
the type of person that might have peed on an electric fence.
Couple times.
Yeah, right. Twice. It only took me once, bro, and I did that one by accident. Woo, son. Bad memories, flashbacks, and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's a bad thing. So you're pretty much dialed in with the Based Oracle brand. You don't plan on shaking it loose too much. You're not gonna change your name or anything wild like that.
No, not at the moment. I'm good. I mean, definitely some changes coming up.
Oh, sure.
Want to get,
Has to be.
more and better for the viewers, especially members. But other than that, it's just honing in.
Absolutely. That's basically it. A lot of time was spent in the beginning of my YouTube career doing what I called 10,000 hours. With YouTube, you can specialize in some part of YouTube. Like in your case, you're specializing in panels and the interactivity therein. I went much more broad based. And so I had to put in, at least start up on the 10,000 hours in editing, 10,000 hours in paneling, 10,000 hours in interviewing, 10,000 hours of the bullshit that goes on trying to get people to this point. Because nobody trusts a dude called Caucasian Sasquatch, just so you know. To start out, everybody knows I'm a troll. And I've got to work my way up from there. So with the name-based Oracle, you at least have some leeway on, you're not obviously a troll, So you do get to walk in kind of clean on that front.
It just depends. It depends on how I want to get it out to a specific person or people at times. And sometimes it's very direct. Other times, indirect, sarcastic, trollish. I'll try to give an example, just a very obvious one, right? A lot of what I would call propaganda bullshit, pushing, unhealthy things to society. Right? So if I'm up and I'm like, yeah, you know what? You should up your burger, and not even burger, but McDonald's intake. You should drink more soda. You need some more cigarettes.
I do. I'm almost out. Yeah, my daddy didn't raise no quitter. So what you're getting at is it depends on your message and the group you're speaking to. If you go into a knitting circle, you shouldn't expect to talk cards.
Yeah, which can be difficult, right? Know your audience. I'm sure I've shot too far, not far enough, right? It just is what it is.
Yeah, it's a learning curve. There's a definite learning curve, and it's a learning curve not everyone can get. There are some people out there crawling on the panelverse that aren't there for paneling. They just like the idea of being on camera. And they'll come up on panel and then go play a game or ride a horse or whatever, which, might be interesting, might not. Generally, they try to sleep or they try to stick their nose in the camera. And I don't know. Anybody who doesn't have basic panel technique or etiquette, I generally allow them up for like 5 minutes, and then I have some horrible technical difficulties that kicks them out. Right? Have you had any issue with those types of things? Oh man, I forgot to get my prawn. I was going to go get me a big picture of a prawn so I could start prawn bombing people. like an actual giant shrimp. They're like, I got you.
Nice.
Anyway,
Are you saying if I had,
have you had any
limp
of
body
those,
panelists or
limp body, a completely off base?
limp
These
brain?
people, I don't want to name specific names, but individuals who aren't with the topic.
Yeah.
And how do you deal with individuals that aren't with the panel?
Yeah, I mean, what was it, like 2 days ago? I'm gonna name them. Vips comes up on panel just to spurg out about some other group, other people. I think I backstaged him at one point. I mean, at first, gave him a warning, let him back up, did the same thing, permabanned. You gone. And he was a member too. But is what it is. You got to go.
Some people are perfectly willing to pay you money in order to come ruin your life. And
Yeah.
that's where we've been going with this conversation the whole time. It seems like this shouldn't even be a thing, that someone would take the time out of their life to sit around and obsess about some phrase you said on a panel 2 months ago. Like, I know you're going to be dealing with the Andrew situation for at least the next year or so, of rando people who hadn't seen it coming across the debate or whatever, and then having some idea that here months later they can say something that's going to change something about something that happened 6 months ago. You know what I mean? Like, this is an absurd thought process, but these people exist. Do you interact with those, or do you intend to?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes there's still a few stragglers in my live streams here and there. Like, oh, you got wrecked in the debate. Just whatever. And it's like, all right, man. Like, cool.
Can I ask directly about that debate and your thought processes leading into it, or do you just want to skip it and move on to the next topic?
I'm fine with talking about it.
Okay. I want to pitch the audience, all 36 of y'all, a concept. And I may be completely wrong and off base, but it occurred to me, looking at the situation your channel was in and looking at the situation his channel was in, if you could get that man to sit across from you, it doesn't matter if y'all cook scrambled eggs, it would be a win for you, even if he completely smoked you. You would learn how to deal with that type of stuff, and you would gain hate watchers and subscribers from just the interaction. Whereas what does Andrew get out of it except one more little notch in the freaking bedpost, as it were, right? So it's a win-win for you, and he has the chance of losing, right? And I watched it. I kind of felt like you got under his skin a little bit, and that you handled it with a very thick skin of your own. So even when things didn't exactly go your way, you didn't respond by getting mad and cussing him out or attacking the fact that he's got a funky mustache or he looks like he smells like Cheeto dust or anything like that. You stuck to topics, you stuck to your guns, you stuck to the framework, and you didn't quit. And I think that says an awful lot about your character, because it's easy in the moment to feel like this isn't worth it anymore. And I think what you were doing was worth it, whether it was pleasant or not.
Yeah.
What were your thought processes leading up to that? Is that anything close?
Yeah, I'll get into that. And the truth is, I mean, I did a review video of the debate and of the comments and the video on how I won the debate, etc., which, triggered all sorts of these people. Right. But I agree with what you're saying. And as far as what's that?
I said, I love it, man. I mean, I would have come out of that and made 3 videos with very tightly edited clips and responses. I would have completely shredded that interview in post-production, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It would have looked great for me, and everybody who watched it would go, Sasquatch is lying completely. Yes, this is YouTube. Are you not entertained?
Right. So I looked at it many ways. I mean, there's so much that you could dig into with leading up to the debate itself. So many interesting points that are lost among people who seem to care but don't really care. I mean, most of them were just there for Andrew. He won no matter what. It wouldn't have mattered what I said, what he said, he won. So
Dude
with
could have cut a strong fart right there on air and giggled about it, and they would have said he won because they are fans.
yeah. Yeah, so the power of numbers is what it is. And the curation of his specific audience to him. How they act based on how he sort of leads them is what it is. With that said, I didn't ask for this debate. I mean, at one point I'd asked him to debate, many months ago. It didn't end up happening, long story short. And as I started getting into live streaming and reviewing videos, some of them were his. I gave my real thoughts, which, ironically, many of them have turned out to be true, even manifesting within the last week or so. His whole course that he's selling now. So anyways, yeah, I think when it comes down to perception, right? It's really the eye of the beholder. People are going to think what they think. Overall, I think I did just fine, given the circumstance, which a lot of people don't know, the full story of, which I'm not going to get into the full story. But the point is, there was a lot of behind the scenes fuckery from him leading up to the debate.
See, I could smell that. Something about that whole thing smelled like one of us is having a personal beefy response and one of us is not.
Yeah.
And I felt like having no backstory, no background other than a debate has been proposed, the debate was accepted, some difficulties occurred, and the debate is occurring. That's it. That's as far as my research went into that one. I watched the debate. I ate Cheetos and freaking drank Mountain Dew and watched the debate and giggled maniacally all the way through it because I was entertained, and thank you.
Good.
I might have gone a different way myself, but then again, you're doing the type of channel you're doing, and that's the type of risks and reward assessment you have to learn to manage. Do you have any advice for anybody out there thinking they're going to jump in here with their dull claws and start catfighting with these YouTube screens?
Don't do it. You're going to fail. You're not me.
Yeah, right?
No, actually, I would say the opposite. I would say just jump in and do it and let your experience, lead you, be your teacher. I don't think it's always easy in retrospect, right? I would have done this different, that different. I'm not going to play that game because that's sort of the regret game, if you know what I mean. So I'd rather play, would I do it differently in the future? And the answer is yes. If I were to debate him again in the future, which I don't really see doing right now, nothing to do with him, but to do with me. I'm just kind of moving away from the debate space for sort of the reasons I was talking about earlier. It's really just, it's not, calling it debate is, it just isn't. It's not
very
really.
generous. It's very, very generous.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, ironically, some of the things I was, coming at him with during the debate, right, his usual dirty debate tactics, whether it's straw manning, red herrings, false dichotomies down the line. He actually was advertising, his Flo pulled that thing up last night on the whatever, right, that his new debate course, Verbal Combat, essentially he was saying that it will teach you how to dirty debate.
Basically, I mean,
So,
but if that's what you're selling, I have no issue with it, just as long as you're honest about what you're selling,
yeah.
It's kind of disappointing when you're going into a debate type format with expectation of open honesty, or at least a legitimate framework, and you end up sitting there basically being abused for an hour just because they're not actually doing a debate. They think they are and they say they win, but in reality, they're just sitting there having a masturbation session with themselves and flagellating on you. And I don't see that as a win. I never have. I'm the type of person, much like you, that can sit right there and stare through you while the drill sergeant screams in your face that you were the best part of you ran down your mama's leg. You know, that whole thing. Just nothing. It doesn't affect me. I came here with the intention of not being offended. Why would
Yeah.
I let you change that?
Yeah. No, I agree.
I feel like you came here with the intention of not being offended, and I think you're doing a pretty good job of it. I think that pretty well squares it away. I really like how this has gone. I appreciate you coming in.
Cool.
You've got 2-3 minutes if you want to try to sell any part of your channel, or just tell them how to find your memberships and stuff, whatever it is you'd like to pitch, or if you want to pitch somebody else's channel. I mean, who
Yeah,
does
yeah. You know, I'm glad you brought that out. Check out Caucasian Sasquatch. Yeah, no, thank you. No, I'm not shilling anything or selling,
Okay,
whatever.
well, this is totally a shield. So the opportunity exists for guests to link merch and everything else in the chat if you want to. Assuming you're not a complete and total troll. Like, I'm not sure I would mod El Perro if I were to host him, although everyone
Who?
else gets a mod. Wizard.
Oh,
Word
I don't
Wizard.
know.
He pops up on
Wizard.
Yes, Wizard.
Oh, yeah,
Word
yeah. Okay, yeah.
Like, I like the guy personally because I think we could have a conversation that makes sense, but at the same time, I don't know how far I trust him. I just don't know. Like, I've heard horror stories. Some people really, really hate him, but when I met him, I was like, oh, he's just funny. He's very particular about his words, and he's funny. But anyway, so if I were to host him, I might not mod him, but most people get moderated in chat. You'll be moderated for the next couple of weeks if you want to come back through, drop your link or whatever.
Cool.
I'm going to be live with the Raging Tomato in about an hour, I think. And
Nice.
hopefully, assuming she shows up and doesn't stand me up like most first dates, we'll be there. And at this point, this is where I'm going to do the whole outro thing. Everybody in my chat, stick around. If anybody can share my stream link into Based Oracles chat, or if not, y'all can just screw off or whatever. I'm sure y'all got better things to do out there. It's a freaking Thursday night, for God's sake. Go.
Yeah, I'll put it in.
That's up to you, bud.
I got a very low mod count.
I'm sure. Well,
I keep a very tight mod house. You know what I mean?
I don't blame you. I've got some wild mods over here. I really do. And it's because I've interviewed so many channels and they all get moderated for a little while. That's why I'm stopping that process now after about 250 channels. 250 mods is too many.
Damn.
It's just too many. I can't do that. And so anybody who lost their mod, it's nothing personal. It's just too many mods, man. There's too much going on the back end, people getting blocked and stuff. And sometimes it can be difficult to figure out who it was that blocked what when. So just no hair off anybody's balls, or clam, as it were.
Eventually, if Guns goes, Uncle Guns and Don Juan, they the two last mods. I don't think I'm going to use a mod.
There's a good reason to have mods depending on the type of channel you have. You need at least one managing moderator and 2 standard mods. This will give you a really good chance of having at least 1 or 2 available at any point in time you go live, unless you have mods that you can just call up and be like, bitch, be there. Because there will come a point in time when you have more shit going on than you can deal with, and that asshole gets in the chat and burns your house down. It'll happen when you are peeing. It'll happen when you go grab a cup of coffee or get you an energy drink or answer the telephone. They'll show up right when you look away. And so mods have a purpose. There's a reason.
Yeah. No,
you should have a couple of good ones, but you don't need 50.
No.
All right. So, yeah, I'm gonna do the whole talk out. I appreciate you coming in, bud. It's been tons of fun. If you've got any YouTube ideas you'd like some help with, let me know. I won't even mention I worked on it.
Cool.
Even unless you want to. I mean, that's with you. It's just kind of a thing that I do for previous guests. You'll be able to restream Sasquatch Shills if you want to. Nobody does. But you can. You'll be welcome up on After Dark panels after a Sasquatch Shills, and if you're willing to put in the time, we can put together a legitimate show based off of anything you've ever seen. If you can point at it and say, I'd like something like that, we'll sit down and try to figure out how to make something like that happen.
Cool. Well, thank you.
Absolutely, bud. I'm gonna drop you backstage for a second. I'm gonna say something snarky. I'm gonna do some music, and then we'll be back up and I'm just on my channel.
Cool.
All right, bud. Much love. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that has been Based Oracle. In the chat, I dropped a poll. The poll's response is: what is the best Oracle? Free based Oracle won with 68%. Free is 18%, and based is 13%. Probably should have left a potato salad option. But I love each and every one of you like a brother and a sister. But if y'all give me any trouble tonight, I will run every single one of y'all off of this mountain. What are the humans doing?
Do you think you're ready? Can you handle the truth? Or are you in denial and demand more proof? They demonstrate in real time how they're spinning you lies, but no one pays attention, no one opens their eyes. They walk around like zombies with their head in the mobiles, signaling their virtues with a pick on their profile. Yeah. Signaling their virtues with a pick on their profile. So if you think you
All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we got you in here. Let's that was great, dude. That was magnifique. Much love. You handled it well too. Like, I was kind of worried about bringing up the Andrew thing and how you might respond, but I thought, you've done the turtle shell thing so long, I figured that would be your knee-jerk response. So you did good. The StreamYard link is in chat if anybody's interested. Remember, as it is, previous guests have first choice. So if I don't know you're from Adam's House Cat, you're going to have to show me some proper gang signs. You're going to have to like rep your set, or you're not coming up here. I'm going to have to see some, like, with the notable exceptions of a couple of people, like, you know who you are. All right. So what do you like to talk about in your off time?
What do I like to talk about? What do you mean off time?
Well, I mean, what do you just
Like,
eat
with my
drink,
friends?
and YouTube? You have friends? Don't be.
I do. We talk a lot of music, movies, stuff like that. Some current events.
Yeah. Current events. Okay. So one of the previous channels I've been working with is Captain Curmudgeon, and he does this sort of satire current events show every Sunday called Blast Radius, and I've been producing it for, I don't know, almost a year now. And I really dig the setup over there. I recently got previous guest Jay Rillo over, and him and Captain Curmudgeon, that last episode we did was so flawless, right? Like, they don't know each other from Adam's House Cat, and we've got a Republican from California and a Republican from Florida, and they sit down and talk, and it sounds like a Democrat and a Republican arguing to an extent. It's kind of funny. They don't necessarily agree on every little point out there, right? Where's the thing I was doing? A thing. YouTube act right. Right. Where's my show clips? So the way I usually do this is there it is. I don't know why YouTube moves my freaking playlist around like that. Every time I come in here, it's in a different spot. Right. So when I try to go find it, I gotta scroll through, scroll back through, try to dig it up. So the reason I end your channel on this part of it is because some of the stuff I do here, because I'm not monetized, I have the ability to do copyrighted stuff that most people can't get away with because they'd lose all their money. Some of this stuff might actually get a channel fully demonetized. So
Okay.
that's more of a protective measure for monetized channels than it is. Everything in Sasquatch Shills is either mine outright or copyright free. So there shouldn't be any copyright issues there unless you created it somehow. And if there is, I certainly want to know about it as soon as you find out about it. Do you care about tuna species? No? Okay.
Tuna?
I'm going through the list of videos I have set over here for things and stuff. Trying to figure out what I should do because I didn't actually plan an after dark sequence. I never get to it, so what's the point, right? We've got some liberal hive mind. Oh wait, no, we're doing this. We are doing this. This is what we're doing. I forgot all about this. This is awesome. All right, so not so long ago, a guy named Georgia Transparency came through my local hometown, and he audited the joint. Right now. Deep lore. Our secretary, clerk, or whatever at the management building over here, she's from New Zealand, and she's only been here for like 10 months or something. I bet you she hasn't even read the Constitution, right? So when somebody walked in and started filming, what's up, Denizen? Speak. Speak. Fix your mic. Then speak. No? Yes? Not at all? This is the problem with damaged equipment. You never know when it's going to become a penis. Yeah, I'm not really playing that game. I'm going to wait until your little thing makes noise like your stuff's actually working. That's so funny. Try it again.
Is it on now?
Yeah, now it's working. That's classic. Technical issues are part of the show, folks. All right, so this lady here, she's only been living here for like, she might have been in the U.S. longer, but she's only been here for about maybe a year. And she's only had this job, as far as I know, for like 8 months or something like that. So she's not exactly up to snuff on the whole First Amendment, public filming, that whole 9 yards. She knee jerks in the New Zealander fashion and screams for help. And quite frankly, it is hilarious to me because Georgia Transparency, I don't dislike him, but I don't know that I've ever actually seen him on camera. I feel like he might be a scary or angry looking man because of the way people react to him. Check this out.
I'm calling police because I feel threatened because you're in here, and that makes no sense.
So there's confidential information there.
She says there's confidential information in there and shuts a door that has a 4 foot by 3 foot window in it. I'm baffled. He was not going to walk in that door, man. That's not part of public. So, that's not the lobby.
State, you're a citizen of the United States. You have rights to go in the public areas that we work for.
That dude is actually pretty cool. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but I've sat and had a chat with him at the Waffle House a few times, and it wasn't about me breaking the law. So there's that.
GT went hot in Washington County, Georgia, in the wonderful city of Sandersville. Please make sure to like, share, subscribe, to include smashing that notification bell right quick, fast, and in a hurry. GT visited the County Board of Commissioners office. The front desk receptionist called the police because I was taking pictures and not providing who I was. There was an alarming big police presence.
Okay, so right now, just looking at this, I can tell you that this probably was filmed on a Wednesday. Because that's when this store here re-ups most of their prescriptions, and when the local doctors give out their stuff. You see all the cars lined up over there? So it's either a Wednesday or a Thursday. On a Wednesday early, these spaces would be full because over here to the left is the courthouse, and everybody in the county has to come into court every week because we all break the law, right? The way that works. That's the way it works where you live, right? Don't you get locked up regular by the cops? I mean, everybody gets hassled. Anyway, I'm joking. Hey, Snark, welcome in. Chat's now open to be called out. I had forgotten to do it, sort of. I've been trying to do a more linear kind of show, and chat often interrupts the whole flow, and it's still difficult to not be like, "Hey, chat, how you doing?" But I love each and every I do. All of the cops are right over here. The police department is just off camera to your left. The courthouse is just off camera to your left. The motor pool is just off camera to your left, and the firehouse is just off camera to your left. So 85% of the cops in this county were probably within 50 yards of this building when that call went out. I'm not giving an excuse. I'm simply explaining that when a call goes out, cops show up, and because cops show up, all the cops show up. You know, there's nothing going on here. There's no crime here that doesn't result in a dead body, and so they have really nothing to do. What's up, Tiffany's Epiphany? Welcome in.
That arrived. Simply existing in a public place and documenting where your tax dollars are going can be alarming. Let's check out the Washington County Board of Commissioners office. Hey, how you doing? Ooh. Oh no, man! Just taking some pictures and video. Oh,
That's where you're from.
man.
90% of the time, you can walk right into this building, walk right back to whatever office you're looking for, and go knock on their door. You don't generally talk to that woman because small town, we usually know who we're going to go talk to. You walk in and you say hello, and you walk by, and you go and talk to whoever you're supposed to talk to. And if you don't know where they're at, you ask her. That's her purpose, the way I see it. So if you don't interact with her, I don't think, there's any need for her to interact with you, but, something like that. Welcome in, Dennis.
Oh, just here, like in the area of Georgia.
Look at that look. She is mad. She's already mad. She is already very, very angry. And I don't know why. This guy did nothing but walk in, say hi, walk by her, go to the end of the hall, turns around and comes back, and now she's angry. Any idea why? Anybody?
Yeah, because he's filming.
Oh, no. We might catch you doing something wrong or right. That's kind of a 50-50 shot, I think. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
He do sound kind of like he's been running a marathon, though. I gotta say that. I'm gonna turn that down because I feel like he's trying to take me out on a date. Over here whispering in my ear and stuff. You're like heavy breathing in the phone. He needs to do Tennel. Tennel has a freaking mortar in their lobby. A literal freaking Civil War cannon is just sitting there. There's not enough room in there to sit down because they've got a fucking cannon in there. But I still think it's cool as hell.
Well, as a former mortarman, I approve of that.
Oh, it's cool. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
What's your name?
My name?
Yeah.
Oh, just Russ.
Russ. What?
Russ, just RUSS, Russ.
Yeah, but what's your surname?
Russ. Mister. Just Russ.
Good citizen is where I'd have went after I told her, yeah, you can call me Sasquatch. And she went, but what's your real name? I'd have said, well, you can call me Good Citizen. That is also appropriate.
You can call me yes sir and no sir.
I will respond to that, although I'm likely to tell you that you shouldn't call me sir. It's like sticking an elevator in an outhouse that just don't belong. And if you call me Mr. Sasquatch, which has occurred, I tell them Mr. Sasquatch is my father.
Yeah. Okay.
Cameras bring out the absolute best in everybody, don't it?
Yeah.
And look, she is utterly terrified. You'd think like she was some sort of like native tribe that was scared that this thing was going to take her soul.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you. Thanks, bye.
Oh, what is your name, ma'am?
Anne.
Anne?
So Russ.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, it's written on the little plaque right here.
To come in and take photographs and video.
The people?
What people?
The U.S. Constitution.
Yeah, you like that? What's up, David? Freaking welcome in, bud. There's a link over there if you're interested. I'd like to talk to you.
No, we don't. We don't have to have an appointment to check on the public areas of our building. I don't think.
You see that blink? She's like, what?
So you said you have permission. So
yes,
did you
ma'am.
speak to somebody specifically to come in?
Oh yes, it's the U.S. Constitution.
First Amendment.
Are you familiar with that document, or I'm not sure?
Well, I do know you're allowed certain things, but I'm not 100% familiar with it.
Okay, so do you, in your mind, think this is a problem? That someone who's not from this country, hasn't been here very long, has a job in government, and is at least admits that she doesn't have a very good grasp on the Constitution. Do you think that's a problem? Or should she call somebody that might know more?
So to be clear, this is a county building.
It's not Chamber of Commerce. It's it's like the city manager's building. It's got some basic official functions, and it's such a small town that half the time there's nobody there but a receptionist to set up appointments. And so the issue is she's never encountered an auditor before. It's very rare that anyone walks in here that either isn't expected or doesn't know the person they're coming in to see. And so just the fact that some random, and I think he's like 6'4", he's a big guy, and he just shows up, she's there alone. I don't have a problem with her calling the cops. I kind of have a problem with the level of response that took place, but not much. Like, she shouldn't be afraid just because some dude showed up. But at the same time, I can understand why she was and why she called somebody. Cops, firefighters, these people are equally distant away.
So, you know, I'm not an auditor. I've never audited.
No,
but I have been in these environments, let's say. And what I've noticed is the Constitution is kind of loose. Upholding it, at least enforcing, right? One can make enough of a spectacle or, you know, go up the ladder to get something done. But at the base line, what I've noticed is nobody really cares, you know, that's working there. They just want you to get out of their hair type of deal. And of course they don't want accountability. And the way I look at it is look up the ladder. You know, whoever is, I don't know who's, you know, the top authority for this agency or building, but that's really the person who, you know, my beef would be with more so than the secretary. What's that?
That would be the mayor, I imagine, because that's kind of, this building is basically the office for like the county commissioners and stuff, the people that get together later and decide whether. Interesting point. In this county, firing a firearm is a felony inside the city limits, because this is a bird sanctuary city. We're on the East Coast 5-path, and if you fire a firearm and you don't shoot a person or an animal that's threatening you, you might have been shooting at birds, and they will charge you with a felony for every single round they discover you fired.
Man.
But that's the kind of that's where that type of stuff is logged, like laws and stuff locally. It's also tax commissioners and stuff, that kind of stuff. You know, it's a county building, public services, trash,
Yeah.
all that. My point being, she's there alone. He had no way of knowing this. Would she have responded the same way if there were 50 people in the building, if everybody had been at work that day?
Right.
Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. It may have been worse. It may have been better. I don't expect random chick behind the counter to know every detail of the First Amendment or all of that, especially if she's not from this country. So do with that what you will. You might think I'm selling, like I'm going easy on her for that reason, but she should be interested in learning and not be afraid of learning, because right now she looks like she's afraid to me. This is a learning experience and she hasn't realized it yet.
I've just started here, which is why I'm quite concerned you've just come in. And
It should be fine though. It's okay. It should really be okay. Yeah, it should be okay. I'm thinking it should be all right. Because there's like a camera right there. That camera that's on the wall there.
Yeah.
So that one's like recording me too. And
so you're
taking my
recording
picture.
me right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I do know that you actually have to have permission to
Nope.
record me.
Oh, actually, we don't, ma'am. Not in public.
But I'm not in a public space.
But
Yes,
we
you
are
are.
in a public space.
For the Commissioner's Office, I'm speaking.
She should be at least interested in learning the First Amendment, I think.
Okay, yeah, they need to. All right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
I think it was a very enlightening
Okay,
video
thank
for
you.
me,
Thanks.
because if I went up there and did this,
Is everything okay?
Well, I'm just a bit concerned that says that I'm here on my own.
when the cops showed up, they'd all recognize me and start laughing, probably leave, or possibly start poking fun. Just, you know, start saying my name and or making music or whatever to try to convince me not to do it again. But one of them's liable to say something stupid, and then my tongue's gonna get the best of me, and the next thing you know, I'm going to jail because I offended some cop's ego. And that's the way that would play out eventually. Whether it was the first time or the 51st time, it would eventually result in me getting the Billy Club. I swear to God.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm new.
Oh, that's fine. You can be here on your own. I'm not here to like bother you or anything.
You know, you've walked in and I don't know who you are.
Oh, no. I'm not here to like bother anybody or nothing.
Okay.
Just here to like,
All right.
yeah, I'm just not here.
Okay.
Oh, no, we don't need law enforcement or anything.
Yeah, Derek called you because this gentleman's just coming and wandering around, and he said he's allowed to take
All right.
photographs.
So this guy's usually cooler than a polar bear's toenails. He's the guy that the judge has. He's basically
Bailiff.
Yeah, he's an officer. He is a cop, right? But he's the court bailiff, and he's right here in one of these buildings 24/7, all the time, forever. And unlike
Is he a sheriff or a cop?
He's just a deputy. He's a county deputy. He's there.
Deputy sheriff, right?
I think so. Well, they're all cross trained supposedly. It doesn't matter whether it's a city or county. Once you're inside the city, everybody's deputized cross platform. You know.
Interesting.
So, yeah, no, the whole you hear about jurisdictional stuff. You don't really hear a lot of that in Georgia. People from outside of Georgia come to Georgia and try to stand on jurisdiction, not realizing that we cross train all our officers. And so, like, even if it was a state trooper, he's got jurisdiction in this town. You know. He might need to call the locals to come be involved, but as far as like it being a problem, it's not. But this dude's cooler than a polar bear's toenails, right? He hangs out, he does stuff, he talks to people. He's one of the few cops, and I hope this doesn't get him in trouble. If you end up somewhere and you need a ride, and he's riding along and sees you, he might stop and give you a ride, but he will be putting you in the paddy wagon. You know what I mean? Right? You're gonna have to ride him back, but you know, it gets 114 degrees at 99% humidity and you're walking down the road because your car broke down. He's not going to, you know, shake you down for your freaking idea and stuff. He's going to take you somewhere to go get some gas or whatever. You know, it's hometown, small town kind of guy, you know. Decent dude.
Concerned about that. And he said he's got permission into the US Constitution. So
Well, if it's well, what they call these sovereign citizens.
Not so much.
Oh no, sir, I'm not a sovereign citizen.
Not a sovereign citizen.
No,
What-
God,
what-
no. No, I'm not a sovereign. I never claimed to be a sovereign citizen.
Well, I'm just saying they do go around and do take pictures.
Oh wow,
of you.
more cops? What the?
Well,
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Okay,
Well,
see.
She really should.
Ohio, I'm new, and I'd asked you your name, and you refused to give me.
I gave you my name,
Eventually, you gave me your.
but I gave you my name,
You
ma'am.
said you were Russ.
Yes, ma'am.
And I asked your surname, and you refused to give me your surname.
I don't have to though. I just gave you my name, Russ.
And I said, would you stop?
Okay, well,
More cops.
God.
So Derek Hall.
Oh, they're dressed in all black garb.
Yeah, that's our city cops. This guy is like more of a county type guy. This is what our county cops kind of look like. These guys over here, these are under the chief of police. This is straight up Sandersville PD. And tiny town, we have a SWAT team. So you
Is
can
the
figure
chief
out who-
elected or appointed?
our
By the
chief
mayor.
is, I think the chief is appointed, the sheriff's elected.
Yeah.
I think that's the way that is. Pretty sure. But like I said, this guy's cooler than Polar Bear's toenails. This dude, I've never actually had a direct interaction with him, but when he looks at me in the street, he does not look nice. Maybe he's got
Yeah.
resting bitch face. I couldn't tell you.
On my own. And the gentleman's come in.
Well, what are you look? What
I asked
specifically
him,
looking
why
for
is
the
he taking photographs?
photograph?
And he said, he's allowed
Well, I'm gonna walk.
because it's a public place.
I'm gonna walk out on
She's
a limb
uninformed.
here and say that the Sandersonville,
No idea.
the Sanderson, Sandersville.
Why did you do it?
I'll wait till they're
I
done.
just felt
I'm sorry.
uncomfortable on my own.
That's no problem.
I'm just started. you know?
Okay.
I'm just gonna walk out on a limb and say probably the Sandersville Police Department nor the sheriff of Washington County or the sheriff's department violates the rights of the people while we're in public. I don't think y'all do that.
Not well enough. I'm asking you, what area you want to photograph?
Just a
This gentleman might be willing to take him on a tour if he answers these questions properly. Because there's no one in this building. There's no reason why he couldn't just wander around with his camera if he had an escort, you know, even into the quote unquote sensitive areas. There's nothing going on in there. So this is where things get a little standoffish, and I don't think there's a reason for it. He's standoffish because I think he would like to see more of a reaction because it gets better views. And Cato over here, he just don't know what the hell's going on and is very confused by what's happening. Right? I mean, what do you do? If you don't know what to do, what do? You ask questions.
Yeah.
And that's what this gentleman's fixing to do, is attempt to question his way out of an unknown situation. And that's beautiful to me. I love it.
public
It's a
areas.
public- it's a
Yeah,
public
just be
area.
left alone. Yeah, and just kind of be left alone and stuff. And
Yeah.
if she's here by herself, then if she's scared to be here by herself, then maybe this is not the job for her, or maybe
little
somebody else ought
standoffish.
to be here with her.
Yeah, but you're more than welcome to
What you need to go take care of what you need to do.
While we're here.
All right.
Oh no, y'all can leave. I'm good.
Now you can what you do. You gonna take
But
care.
don't y'all got crime to fight out there?
You gonna take care of what you need to do.
You see this
You wanna
dude
photograph
smirk?
the area, public area. Go and photograph the area.
But we don't need like law enforcement here
It's not
though.
what you want. It's what we here for.
But I don't need you. Like we don't need you or anything.
If you want to come back
What
tomorrow,
public area?
you can have a tour with the director.
No. I don't need it. I don't need anybody. I'm just kind of in the public areas of a building that we pay for is like U.S. taxpayers and stuff. Oh my goodness.
Oh no, he's not a cop. He's a cop's brother.
Am I in trouble or anything? Holy cow.
So you work with video, it's public, you can video where you want to, but we're gonna stay here.
Okay. This is the part that I want to ask everybody in chat on panel.
Fire restraint.
Do you have an issue with at least one or two officers sticking around until he leaves? Would that be a problem?
Kinda, yeah.
She's there alone. She's new. She doesn't feel safe. Should she have called the cops? It's a strange circumstance. She doesn't know how to handle it. So she does the only thing she knows to do, which is what she was probably told to do, quote unquote, if anything happens. Something has happened.
Yeah, I guess. Nothing really happened, though.
Yeah, no, nothing happened, but she didn't know what to do for a moment. And when in doubt, you call someone. Now, should she have called the cops? I don't know. Someone called her, and that's who called the cops.
Mhm.
Keep that in mind. She didn't actually say, "Hey, call the cops." Somebody called her, and she's like, "There's some dude in here filming. I don't know what to do," and they called the cops. So the cops showed up completely blind on this situation. No clue what's going on. Personally, I think they've handled it well so far. Nobody's been tased. There hasn't been any raised voices. No one's ordered anyone for anything. And Cato, this guy, nobody's even asked him for his ID. Personally, I think this is a win. I mean, prior restraint, sure. Presence, intimidation by presence is possible. But without orders or without, unlawful orders or unlawful demands, I don't really see what's going on. And these two guys right here were probably sitting over in the courthouse with some transferees from the local jail. So they weren't doing anything in the first place. They were just not doing it over there. Now they're going to not do it over here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But what she's offered is the director, which is Derek Dunn, he can walk you around, take away you need to do.
Oh no, I don't need nobody or anything.
Offered him a tour.
I really don't like the fact you call law enforcement here, but
Well,
you can.
I didn't. I had to inform my boss. Like I said, I've been here a week. I had to inform my boss.
Why would they leave you here by yourself if you're here a week and not trained? It's not your fault. I'm not It's not your fault.
You saw that look, right?
It's whoever your boss or their boss is their fault.
And you said that just a minute ago. It's whoever's up here.
The first faith of somebody that walks in.
Yeah, the most accountable.
Okay, yeah. I'm not filing a complaint at all. No, I'm just saying that. Yeah, no, I'm not filing a complaint. I'm just saying that your boss and then her boss, his or her boss or whoever. Why would they leave you here by yourself? You've been here for, like you said, a week. And you're the first face that the public sees when they come into the Board of Commissioners office.
Well, that's not something we have to address right now.
And then,
But I'm trained in everything I need to be trained. I'm just feeling comfortable.
Except the First Amendment. But okay.
Oh, but y'all are videoing me with your camera there. There's a camera there, and then y'all's body cams are probably rolling and videoing me too. So I'm. Oh my goodness.
Well, when she got called a while ago, right, this is probably because the mayor or one of the commissioners was sitting over at the country buffet eating lunch or breakfast or whatever, or just hanging out because they do that. That's a restaurant that is like 25 feet to the right of the commissioner's office over here. And you can see the front of the commissioner's office from the dining room. And quite often they sit there instead of sitting in their office because, free drinks or whatever, for whatever reason. If you want to solve something in this local place, you don't go to the commissioner's office, you go to the country buffet and you figure out who it is you need to talk to over there. Because anyone in the county, the city, they all eat there. And it is phenomenal food if you happen to breeze through this area. Yeah, I think we're gonna wrap that one up there. Nothing happens. I call it a win. It's a good audit. The cops show up, they walk around. They offered to give the man a tour, like further into non-public spaces, which he denied, and that's cool. That's neat. Jeff is here. It was NC Tyrant Hunter. He actually took the tour. I think it was in Colleton County. The sheriff found the cops trying to run him out of the freaking building and walked in and was like, "What are y'all doing? Stop it. Sir, come with me. I'll show you everything." And walks him all through the whole place, back to all the holding cells that don't have anybody in them, everywhere he could go. It was an excellent audit, one of the best I ever saw. This could have been something along those lines. Everyone involved could have learned something. Instead, we end up with a slightly standoffish situation, and everybody's being just a little bit nitpicky at the moment. But I don't necessarily blame her. She doesn't know. And what do you do? That's what I was going to say. The issue I have here, they have a emergency word, and that call that came in a while ago was probably from one of the people sitting at the country buffet watching this dude walk around and film and then walk in. And they called her up, was like, hey, what's going on? And she said whatever the emergency word was. And that's why they got a heavy cop response. There's probably 10 more standing outside, to be honest, because the ones that weren't in the courthouse are definitely at the country buffet eating chicken. They could have flooded in there 40 deep, and it didn't happen. So a win. I know it seems heavy-handed to some people. Some people may disagree with me. What's up, Cody is King? Yeah. I think I'm going to call this one at this point. That'll give me 30 minutes to work out something to eat for the whole entire clan over here and get back for the Raging Tomato in 30 minutes. How's that sound?
Cool.
Absolutely fantabulous. I love it. I'm going to pick something different to go out on. Something I don't usually do. I have so much crap over here. We're going to do the YouTube slave class outro because I'm supposed to be doing YouTube slave class tonight. But we'll be back in 30 minutes. I hope everybody joins us for that one. Raging Tomato is definitely an interesting individual. I don't know how to explain that much better, but if you're a simp, she might be right up your alley. I don't know what to tell you. But Denizen, you got anything you want to tell everybody?
Yeah, follow me on all the stuff and things, and follow Based Oracle.
Yeah,
do that thing.
I like stuff and things.
Stuff and things. Go do the stuff and things.
They're my favorite.
What are the humans doing?